live and online. It's Sleepless with Steve and the Movie Book Club with your host, Steve Pulaski.
Back and better than ever, live on YouTube on this Wednesday evening, last Wednesday of April. It is Sleepless with Steve. Good to be with you, everybody. Steve Pulaski, an achy Steve Pulaski, following his second shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. Moderna, you put some real juice in this one, man. You put some steroid mix in this one. You put some muscle relaxer in this one. This is a hell of a shot. I'm doing all right, though. Grateful to be with these two guys. I wouldn't miss this show for anything. And I'm feeling much better I'm feeling much better tonight than I did the night after my first Moderna shot. So take that how you will. I've been griping to my parents. They made me weak. But anyway, it's good to be with you, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Joe Viso in the Bears hoodie. Can't wait till they do something stupid tomorrow during the draft. Trade up and take Kyle Trask out of Florida or something like that. We shall see. Dominic Guanzon. Is that a polo? I cannot tell from where I'm sitting. Is that a polo?
Yes, it is.
Why do I question? How dare I question the consistency of one Dominic Guanzon? Gentlemen, how are we doing today? They're gonna do something stupid.
It's an abusive relationship at this point.
I can't wait for the draft tomorrow, but you know what the key is? I'm not really too concerned what the Bears are going to do because no matter what we do, we're screwed. So I'm just really focused on like the top 10.
Yeah.
Like where the players are going to go. So we got the Oscars and we got the draft in the same week. What a time to be alive. Dom, how are you doing?
Doing good. Going to get my second shot tomorrow. Pfizer Club, what up? And yeah, I'm pretty sure they did it on Pfizer gang.
Yeah, I was like, when you say stuff like that, I'm imagining like West Side Story, like everybody just meeting in an alley and just duking it out.
The new Steven Spielberg West Side Story. It's all just like Pfizer, Moderna. There's a third gang they introduced called Johnson and Johnson, and it's just two dudes just completely messing everything up. They're a comedy relief. Anyway, looking forward to that actually. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty confident that no evidence whatsoever that they put all the hard-hitting stuff in the second shot because it's like, okay, just need to get them over the hump of the first one, and then they're obligated to get the second one. So just put all the hard-hitting crap in the second one, and then they'll deal with it later. Who cares? Just we need them vaccinated. Which, hey, I get. If that's Fauci, if that was your plan, that was your master plan, I respect that. I respect the game. But I've played Pandemic before. I played Pandemic Inc. But Plague Inc. And yeah, other than that, I'm just looking forward to it. So I'm getting tomorrow and Friday off because it's gonna suck. The after effects, but I'll deal with it. But, hey, if it hits me like a train, which apparently it's hitting you guys, then that just means I am healthy enough for it to be felt. So.
Yeah, that's the way you look at it. And May 15th, I'm going back to the movie theater, and I am seeing Spiral, the Saw prequel.
Yeah,
cannot wait.
That's gonna be.
I think that's an awesome movie to get back. I got really obsessed with the Saw series over Halloween this year, if you gentlemen remember.
Is that the one with Chris Rock?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, okay, that is actually interesting.
The one that should have come out a year ago.
Oh.
I cannot wait because if you guys remember, I remember talking to you about the Saw. I watched all the Saw movies over Halloween, and I became like obsessed in them.
I talked about 6 with you, which is personally like my favorite of the sequels. I think the first one's the best, but the 6th one's I think the best of the sequels.
I think the 6th and the 3rd one personally, because the 3rd one stayed with me for a long, long time after watching it. But I think I even sent, I don't know if I sent the group chat when I got my first shot, you guys, but I did send my buddy yesterday. I said second dose, #Moderna gang with a gif of Jigsaw, let the game begin. And that's what even when we were walking up there, I started hearing this, or like walking up to get the shot in the clinic I was at, I started hearing that Saw music, da-da-dun, 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 you know.
In front of
Live or
you are
die.
3 vaccines. 2 of them will actually provide vaccines to the COVID-19 virus. The other will give you a bad radish.
Live or die. Make your choice. At any rate, though, we'll move forward. The Oscars were Sunday. Did you watch? I doubt it. Have you checked the ratings? But we will give the next hour to the Oscars because there's no shortage to talk about. Whether you love the Oscars or whether you hate them or whether you're tired of being lectured by Hollywood elites, there's really always something to talk about with the Oscars, which is why I gravitate towards it. It's not as showy as a lot of other award shows, and I think that's part of its detriment, but I also think it's part of its appeal, at least for me personally. So we're going to dedicate this next hour to the Oscars. We got a handful of things we'll tackle. I've kind of divided them. Thankfully, nothing controversial happened. They didn't butcher the ending. They didn't do anything weird at the end, so we don't have to go down there. Who am I kidding? But I figured we'd talk about we'd split up the different ways that we talk about it. We'll start kind of with general thoughts about the show. We'll go into the upset of the night, which was Best Actor, and I think that'll be the topic we talk about the most. The major categories, who we were happiest to see win, and then we'll end with the ratings. So I think the major categories and the happiest, who we were happiest to see win, I think those will be quick. But the general meat will be these first two topics, really, and then the ratings to wrap it all up. So we'll get started. I just got a couple quick thoughts, too, on the show. We'll start there, the general appearance. It was going great for the first 3 hours, I thought. I thought it was very entertaining for the first 3 hours and very, very fun. You got to give credit to Steven Soderbergh, who was one of the primary executive producers on this show. I don't know what I expected this year's Oscars to look like. I kind of stayed away from a lot of speculation. I knew it wasn't going to be a Zoom affair, and I really wanted to be surprised, and I ultimately was. That's an interesting setting they used.
That is, yeah.
Really setting and not filter, but it's the
Color
thing
scheme
that makes a movie look like a movie, which if you see it, you immediately know.
Yes, it's almost got like that soap opera smoothness to it in a way, not as explicit, not as like graphic, but like the cinematic lens they used for it. It looked good, and it also felt loose and casual. Instead of an auditorium, they were all the nominees, the actors, the directors, producers, they were all positioned at like different tables, different sort of like, semicircle tables. So it felt casual.
It actually felt like a show compared to a ceremony. Like everybody we were sitting at these booths in like groups of 4 or 3. And like the host was like, well, it wasn't technically a host, but like they had actors and actresses walking around with a microphone, like interviewing people, actually like just doing fun stuff with them, playing trivia, like talking to them one-on-one. And it was just like, this is way more laid back and casual that I think was needed for the longest time for the Oscars. Like the way this was handled, I don't know if it was Soderbergh or like just finally somebody said enough is enough. We need to get this back on track. What do people want? And it's just like the whole idea of no host. I think they actually first started when I actually joined Sleepless with Steve back when this was on air. And Steve and I were talking about this, about how stupid it was. And then like the night, of course, we watch it, he texts me. He's like, well, I don't know about you, but I actually think it works better without a host. I was like, actually, I feel the same. And ever since then, I'm glad they kept it like that because, yeah, it for a 3-hour show, it flies by. When there's not annoying skits to get to, the host has to come out and do their bit and everything. And whether the bit sucks or not, you kind of feel like, wow, I guess the host was the thing that made the show feel like it was dragging on. But yeah, no, I really did enjoy like just the approach that they took with this year's Oscars. And I don't know if it's going to be like that after all of this, like after the COVID-19 pandemic and like the measurements we got to take with how many people can be in a building. I don't know if it'll be like that, but honestly, I think this is for the better. And I would just go with something similar like this for the future.
I think next year they're going to go back to the Dolby Theater. I think Cranston said that during that big montage for the MFTP.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think he said that next year we'll be back because he was in the Dolby Theater by himself and the camera crew. I think they're going to go back to that. I will say though, you know what? If I wonder what they're going to do, because going back to Joe's point, I'll let Dom jump in too before we seg. I'll say this though, like, the Oscars, the big thing with the Oscars, and the producers have said this for the last several years, is they want to get it to like 3 hours and 10 minutes, which has never happened. It's always run late. It's consistently run late, even without a host. I mean, this was what, 3 hours and 20 minutes or so. Like, they have to kind of accept that it's going to run late. It's going to be about 3.5 hours ordinarily. I wouldn't mind a host coming back. And if I made a suggestion, I sent this to you in the group chat, get Lil Rel Howery and Daniel Kaluuya next year. Get them two to host this thing. Them two are great. They did that skit together with the Guess the Song, if it was nominated for Best Song or not. Yeah. Those two are funny. And I want a movie with those two again, and I would love to see them host the Oscars.
Yeah, just the quick references to Get Out between the two of them like made me crack up. And then also just, like the chemistry that they have. It's like, damn, like, we could definitely do a whole movie with these two. Like, the little snippet that we got at Get Out really didn't make me see that until we eventually saw them standing next to each other at the Oscars.
Yeah, Lil Rel is the superior version of Kevin Hart. I'll say that. Moving on. Tom.
In terms of hosting duties, you're absolutely right. But yeah, dude, I appreciated it. Gone are the days that Seth MacFarlane does like, a 30-minute intro to the Oscars or whatever, or Jimmy Kimmel does his usual bit, right? His usual like 3 bits that he has. I don't know, but I thought it went fine. It moved along quite nicely. And I did kind of appreciate, actually, minus when they did like, I think the actor and actress, Best Actress Award. I think they like did a little blurb introducing each nominee. I think, right? Yes. Which is like, I kind of appreciate that for the technical awards, at least, no one gives a shit about the technical awards, right? No, but they actually took the time to give them at least, a couple sentences, and like, giving them their just due, because this, I mean, they know what they signed up for, right? Costume design. This is the biggest night of their lives, probably, or at least in terms of awards or recognition. So that's fine. But, I appreciated that. And like spreading out hosting and presenting duties amongst all the various stars and actors. So kind of like, low pressure really for them, except when they have their little, their award to present, which, a lot of awards have done, but I just appreciate that approach. But yeah, I watched it with my parents, and my dad was like, Union Station in LA really isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's more well known than Union Station in Chicago, but Union Station in Chicago is much better. And of course, bias, home territory. But I kind of agree with him. And it's like, damn, Untouchables really did make it look good. But I don't know.
Another credit to Chicago.
Exactly. But yeah, dude, as to bring it back to the Dolby Theater, I don't really care. The Academy Awards I think they've been through like 7 different locations. So it's been a Dolby Theater the longest, it's not a set in stone that it has to be. So whatever it is, I also commend Soderbergh for, nothing really crazy happened. No big skit or sketch to really talk about. Actually, honestly, to me, that's a good thing. The awards.
The biggest change, and I don't know if it was Soderbergh who suggested this or anybody, but I really love the idea of them playing trailers for upcoming movies, like new trailers during the Oscars. This has been something I've been saying for like years. It's like, I watch the Game Awards, and that is something they do. Big upcoming games or big announcements, they keep it until the Oscars show up. Not the Oscars, the Game Awards show up, and then they'll just play a trailer in between the awards. And what that does is it helps for people who don't give a damn about who wins, except maybe for Best Actor, Best Actress, or Best Picture. Like, they might just care about those big 3 categories. What it does, it gives them something to look forward to when they're watching the Oscars. It's like, I might see the upcoming Spielberg movie like you did that night with West Side Story, which was the first trailer we've seen of that. Dom's cat is entering the conversation.
Sorry, the dog's at the house, so she has to be in here.
No, you're good, man. I was like, what the hell is that to the right? I would love if they continue that tradition. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like big budget, like blockbuster movies, but like if they want to keep it to like musicals or like, dramas, or even if they want to incorporate the blockbusters, I'm all for that. I understand like they want to probably save that stuff for the Super Bowl. But, like, this is another chance to show off some of that stuff when you can't do it at the Super Bowl because either your film's not that big, like an A24 trailer, that would be perfect for the Oscars.
Mm.
Anybody who's watching that probably enjoys A24.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't believe that they let the Super Bowl. I know there's more eyeballs, but I can't believe they let the Super Bowl for that route. When you think for, like, at least for these mid-major movies, or even like an A24 thing,
Yeah.
you think that this would be an opportune time. Certainly not as expensive to run an ad as the Super Bowl is. You
Especially
think that it would be an
streaming-
opportune time.
Streaming too, who like has movies, like when they release a trailer, that movie's like gonna be out within the next month. It's like, oh, like what's our big movie that we're having coming out during the summer on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon? Oh, screw it, we'll throw the trailer right into the Oscars, which is in February usually, or I don't know if they're gonna keep this April date.
Yo, no joke. The previous Oscars, if they ran a trailer for documentary Crip Camp, A Disability Revolution, like in the middle of the Oscars, would be like, yo, that sounds interesting, because no one gives a shit about that. No one gives a shit about documentaries outside of the Oscars.
Yeah.
So, or maybe like random YouTube
Imagine
stumbling upon.
Imagine actually seeing like Class Action Park's trailer like at the Oscars. You're like, oh, that looks cool. I gotta watch that.
I'm going to disagree with that, though. How many times have your coworkers told you about what documentary they randomly watched on Netflix? People watch documentaries
true.
now, especially with the accessibility of them.
That is
But, like,
true.
But like when it comes to like the documentary shorts and stuff like that, or like the stuff really nobody sees,
Yeah.
like the documentary shorts, the live action shorts, or the animated shorts, aka the categories you go to mix yourself a snack. Like, why not advertise the fact that like the winning short, If Anything Happens, I Love You, is available on Netflix? I don't know why they don't promote these things.
Mhm.
They don't go out of their way to talk about these things. Like half the time we don't even know. The only one that most people would probably know for animated short this year is Burrow, because it was attached to Soul, but even then it didn't come out in theaters. You had to know that Burrow was going to be the short that would have preceded Soul had it come to theaters. But moving forward, though, we'll have to talk about this. I say we make it the first thing we talk about here. This was the first time since the 44th Academy Awards in 1972 that the show didn't end with Best Picture. In 1972, you know what it ended with? A tribute to Charlie Chaplin. They got it right, at least for the 44th Oscars. They at least got that right. You know, and of course we're talking about the Best Actor, the colossal upset where Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was predicted to be a shoo-in as the winner of Best Actor, but instead went to Anthony Hopkins for The Father, who was not present. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, and I know you two have opinions, so I'll try to be quick here and get to you guys. For decades, the Academy voters have always said that, and the producers, that they do not know the winner until the envelope is opened. This is the first time I actually believe that, because there's no way that if Soderbergh and the accompanying producers knew that Anthony Hopkins was going to win Best Actor this year, they would not have switched the order from Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Picture to Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Actor. There's no way they would have done that had they known Hopkins would have won. And you don't end on that anticlimactic note either, because that's exactly what it is. Since Hopkins wasn't even in attendance, he was sleeping at his home in Wales, and it sucked
all the memes. Sorry.
Yes, it sucked the air out of everything. It sucked the air out of everything. It sucked the air out of Nomadland winning Best Picture. It sucked the air out of the first Korean woman to win Best Supporting Actress. It sucked the air out of the second woman to win Best Director. And this diverse crop of nominees, even Daniel Kaluuya for Best Supporting Actor, it completely deflates that. And the other thing was, too, is that anybody who's watched The Father knows that Anthony Hopkins, you could have made an argument for any of those 5 nominees to win. But anybody who's watched The Father has no gripes about Anthony Hopkins winning. And it's not even that Anthony Hopkins won. It's that what aggravates me the most is not only that they really put Chadwick Boseman's widow, Simone, in a very awkward spot in that moment, because all eyes were on her. They put her in a terrible position. And they put Anthony Hopkins in a terrible position too, because now it's coming out that they wouldn't let him record a Zoom acceptance speech, and Olivia Colman wasn't allowed to go up there, his co-star in The Father, and accept the award on his behalf, which is flat out bullshit. But at least her coming up there would have been a better ending than what we got.
Yeah.
But what sucks, though, ultimately, and I'll pass it to Joe after this, what sucks ultimately, in my opinion, is that Anthony Hopkins, you could argue, and he's done 150 movies, so it seems, you could make the argument that this is his single greatest performance in The Father. It's that good. It turns that moment into a what the hell just happened moment. And that's how that movie and that performance is going to be remembered. And Chadwick Boseman doesn't get the tribute, the send-off he really deserved. And also don't forget that they had the In Memoriam, which they put on 2-speed, so it seemed. They flew through that.
Yeah.
That was weird.
You know, that was odd too. Really odd song choice too.
It was like
That
Sean
Stevie
Connery, done.
Wonder-
Next person, done. And then like when you got to the big like last three, the big three who like died, which was like Chadwick Boseman, and like there was 2 other people. God, I don't remember, but
So many.
yeah,
But they threw DMX on there.
They
threw
did, yeah,
DMX
that's right.
on
They
there.
put DMX on there. When you got to like the big 3 actors that we lost last year, they spent like 3 seconds instead of 1 on them, and then it was like done. It was just like, oh,
Plumber
geez.
Also,
was
the song
another
choice
one.
was Stevie
Plumber, yeah.
Wonder, like a kind of a mid-tempo Stevie Wonder song. I'm like, okay, I get it. Maybe like you don't want to depress the audience, but like this is the year to really depress the audience. No offense.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
But keeping it to Best Actor, though,
Yeah.
that was a piss-off ending. And
Yeah.
fittingly, the Joker was the one who opened the damn envelope,
Okay,
too.
let me talk
Fittingly.
about that too, because like I also feel sorry for Joaquin Phoenix, who had to go up on stage, say his little speech, open that envelope, and read Anthony Hopkins, and he's not here tonight, so the show's over. And I don't mean to like end the show here on Sleepless, but like this was basically the example. Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Anyways, that does it here for the Oscars. Have a good night.
Yeah. On behalf of Anthony Hopkins could not be in attendance, so on behalf of Hopkins, the Academy accepts the award. Good night.
Yeah, credits. It's just like,
Right.
what?
You know?
It's like the least they could have done. They should have done this. No matter what, before we presented Best Actor, we should have had a like 2-minute, 3-minute video of Chadwick Boseman. Just that. No matter what. Just like that should have been at the end. Because like, okay, he didn't get the award, but he got that fitting tribute. It's like, hey, you know, we lost him. He was nominated this year. So, you know, we want to show off this performance. The 5 Bloods. Him as Black Panther. Him as Jackie Robinson. Him as Get On Up. What's his name? Oh my God.
James Brown.
James Brown.
Thank you. Like, just various performances from him. Like, you know, it's like, I know it's just like, okay, well then you're kind of doing In Memoriam, but like, it's a little different because he was nominated this year. So it's like, let's give him an extra little leeway. Like, he was nominated this year, and of course the year he was nominated for was the year he died, unfortunately. Like, at least something. Like, his widow's there. You could have had her come up on the stage, like, after, like, that, like, whole thing gave a speech, and then sat back down waiting for, like, the Best Actress, Best Actor thing to happen. But instead, no, it's just, like, camera turned to her, and we never saw her again for the rest of the night.
God, that sucks.
It was embarrassing. And then the other thing, Nomadland wins. The whole cast and producers come up there and give this speech. Then it's Best Actors. Then Frances McDormand has to trot up on there over again to give another speech after she just gave a really good one for Nomadland. So that's kind of clumsy looking as is.
I love though that she just got up there. She's like, "This is our work. I love doing it." Night. It's just like,
Yeah, she gets. I mean, look, that always happens, right? Where it's like if someone's really on a roll, it's like someone might think, you know what, this is maybe not Frances McDormand, but you know, someone thinks, you know what, I may not win the other ones, so let me do my big speech for this one, and then like they win like once more or 2 more times, if they're on a roll, and it's like, hey guys, I'm back again, thanks, and then they just go. That literally happens like every couple of years, so that's fine. But this whole thing where you bet on it, right? You bet on it that they were like, oh, of course Chadwick's gonna win, and and you break tradition and you rearrange the show specifically like to build things up, and Man, that's why you stay the course, bro. That's why
Yeah.
you stay the course.
And again,
for something. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, like this just shows that, like, again, like the Oscars is disconnected from the major audience they want to grab. Chadwick Boseman was a huge actor for a lot of people because of Black Panther, because of what that film represented to the black community, and also like what he meant as an actor to just a lot of people. He played a lot of iconic roles, like as the ones I mentioned, like real life people or fictional. A lot of his roles, you can debate me over this, but they're very iconic to films now. They really are. No one's gonna like if anything, people could forget about Infinity War, Endgame. Black Panther, I think, will not be forgotten for how big it was.
Bro, 25 years from now, there's going to be a lit class, right? A grade school literature class. And it's like, you know what? Today, we're going to learn about Thurgood Marshall. So actually, no, that movie may not be the best one because that was like, wasn't there like shootouts in that movie? Today, we're going to learn about Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
This is Chadwick Boseman's performance in, 42 and stuff like that. Because I remember doing that for, watching, all sorts of biographies or Shakespeare or whatever with, major Hollywood. I think I watched Taming of the Shrew with Denzel Washington, something like that. I don't know. But, he is iconic. He is iconic, and he was known and will be known as the black actor that played, every major African American icon, it seemed like. And, which is a great honor. So, like this, it's 2021, right? We just off the heels of the Derek Chauvin trial, and a massive upheaval in civil rights, and then literally the largest civil rights movement in the world in recorded history. So it's to bet on that it was really just foolish, and to not have a safety, as they say, if they really don't know, no one in the room thought like, what if he doesn't win?
Yeah,
right, exactly. So like what they should have done, hindsight, but still there could have been foresight in this, is that let's keep it as is. If the awkward thing happens and Chadwick doesn't win Best Actor, at least we planned after the Best Actor, kind of like how we did it with Charlie Chaplin, right? Where it's like I'm assuming it was a standard order, and then they did like a Charlie Chaplin thing, right?
It was a standard order. Then they ended with a Charlie Chaplin tribute.
That's not even breaking. Yeah, that's not really even breaking tradition in the framework of they added on, but they didn't break the order. They could have done like, okay, actor, actress, Best Picture, but we're not going to end the night there. We're not going to roll credits like we usually do tonight. We have the widow of Chadwick Boseman. She's going to say some words, and it would have been a fantastic opportunity, but to drive blind, you're driving blind on a race course that you don't know what's going to happen, right? And then we don't really know how the final lap of this race is going to look, so let's just gun it because we know it's going to be fine, right? And then just full smack dab into the concrete wall. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, to wrap this part up, it's not that Chadwick should have won, because I've never said that he absolutely should have won. He was deserving to win, but I don't think he absolutely should have won. I just said you could make an argument for Riz Ahmed, you can make an argument for Stephen Yeun, you can make an argument for Gary Oldman. You could have made an argument for any of the 5 best actors. That was the most stacked category of the year. It's not that Chadwick should have won. It's that the Academy was irresponsible in positing a tribute by monkeying with the format. So everyone, even Simone Boseman, expected a grand send-off for her late husband. And then they never got it. Because really, outside of like the pre-show, when I don't watch much of the Oscar pre-show, I watch the last half hour. Lil Rel made a few comments here and there about Boseman. We miss you, brother, and stuff and whatnot. He was talking to Kaluuya about him earlier. But they never really did give much conversation to him throughout the show.
No.
So it was fair to expect something like that. And again, I said before, you don't monkey with the format unless you are absolutely certain that you believe that Chadwick's going to win. You don't do that if you knew Hopkins was going to win.
And you can never know. So don't do it. And I will say, at least one silver lining in this is that at the very least we can say that, okay, so at least the Oscars didn't mess with things with the vote itself, so that, Chadwick Boseman was for sure going to win, or like, we can't say that, that Anthony Hopkins was undeserving, or that, at least we know that it's a pure vote. So there you go. But because at no point, yeah, exactly. If anything, I was worried. I was worried that Steven Yeun was going to win it, and then Twitter would have exploded with like, oh man, this was the year for Chadwick Boseman to win it, and it's like, and then back and forth, things get lost on Twitter, and then it turns into like an Asian versus black thing, which is freaking stupid. Actually, I will say that I think for the most part, right, no one is really pointing their hate at Anthony Hopkins. It's really just the Oscars, just the organization that is the Oscars.
People who are saying like, no, it should have been Chadwick Boseman that won. It's like, okay, no, you just want him to win because you just, he died and you really like him. Yeah. But for people who are saying they mishandled it, like what we've been saying the whole night, it's like, no, I've seen a ton of that. Like that has been the general thing I've seen. Is just like, even if he wasn't gonna win, why the hell did they have his widow there? They had like, a bunch of times they were name dropping him, making you think like, okay, maybe at the end of the show we'll get something. No, nothing. It's like, man, you had Daniel Kaluuya there. You had Angela Bassett there. You had Viola Davis. People who have worked with this man in movies, co-starred along him. That could at least say a word or two along with his widow. You should have taken full advantage of that.
Just to wrap this up and further burn the clock before we take our Zoom-sponsored intermission. The other thing I think of how Anthony Hopkins won, okay, and I'll just, this is not fact-based whatsoever. This is just a thought that I had, at work the following day. I think, and this is interesting in a way, with the Academy voters, I think a lot of them probably in their minds expected Chadwick Boseman to win when they were each individually going through their voting process. They kind of just thought Boseman's going to win this. And if they they felt that there was another performance superior, they're like, well, I'm just going to vote for the one I want because Boseman's going to win. So I'm going to vote Anthony Hopkins, the father. And then enough people had that in their mind that they did that and swung the vote.
Isn't that what happened with the Neighborhood movie, the Mr. Rogers documentary?
Well, won't you be my neighbor?
Isn't that the same thing that happened? Like enough people.
You can make the argument because it's like, how the hell did that movie not win?
Look, just always vote your heart.
Yeah,
that's a rule across any voting. Just vote your don't. Strategic voting is the stupidest thing ever. I'm not even this is not just politics. This is literally every voting.
This is Among Us.
This is Among Us. Vote your heart. Well, okay, Among Us you can mess around there, but when voting, just vote your heart. Don't be strategic. Don't be stupid. Just vote your heart.
I would have voted for Steven Yeun. That's who I would have voted.
I would have voted for Liz.
There you go. If Anthony Hopkins,
there's no wrong answer.
If there really isn't, and like before we break, whatever was in their heart of hearts, the voters. And if it was Anthony Hopkins, hey, yeah, I'm sure. Chadwick Boseman's looking down. It's like, yeah, hey, he put on a good performance, man. He doesn't need. Look, he doesn't really need an Oscar, right? He's already an icon, no matter what.
Yeah, he's got this.
Everybody's even said who's close to him. Like the family even said, the family came out, his brother came out, and like nobody's mad. Like, and because they're like nobody's mad because Chadwick wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
Like Chadwick would have been at work Monday morning, regardless of whether or not he won, and I respect the hell out of that. He would have been. Chadwick was not the kind of guy who was motivated by awards. He was intensely private. He was an intensely private guy. That's right. We didn't know about his colon cancer until he died. He was just a private man who wanted to do his work, and I respect that. And truth be told, his movies will live on, whether or not he won for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or not. It was just the way the Oscars handled that was criminally. I would even say that's almost worse than the way they handled than the way the La La Land Moonlight fiasco shook out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think in some ways this is worse.
I thought that was funny.
That was funny, and to a degree. And by then, La La Land had already garnered a handful of awards anyway.
Yeah.
Like this was something else. This was brutal. Because you're talking about something
the hell out of too, the whole La La Land mix up with the guy holding the card like this. you cannot meme this situation at all. Like, that's how bad it was.
No. Nobody's laughing at this. This was like a seriously moment. Oh man, our group chat blew up. We'll break here. Zoom sponsored intermission. When we come back in just a couple seconds, we're going to talk about the major categories. We're going to quickly talk about the person we were happiest to see win, and then we will close out talking about the utterly dismal ratings of this year's Oscars and what they mean for the future. So we'll be back in a couple seconds right here at Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube. Back and better than ever, our Zoom-sponsored intermission has concluded. We're very quick with these things. We get very snappy. We just close out, come right on back. At any rate, though, we'll dive into the major categories. Why not talk about the big six? That's picture, actor, actress, supporting actress, and director. We'll talk about kind of just an overview of those and see what we had to say. And I'm probably going to bleed into the person I'm happiest to see win because we're going to go over that quickly after this segment. But God, I'm so happy Yoo Jung-yoon won. I was really close to picking Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, and I really wouldn't have been mad if she won. Truthfully, she was easily the best part of Hillbilly Elegy, and the poor woman hasn't won yet in her career. But she had this funniest speech of a winner of the night. And at 73 years old, I think she's also a really good reminder that you're never too old to win.
Yeah.
You're never too old to really to see your dreams realized in that way and get that international recognition that she really deserved, especially for that performance. She was funny as hell in that quick speech that she delivered. I thought her best joke was the I really couldn't see myself winning this, or maybe it's just the American hospitality for the old Korean lady. I loved her. I thought she was the speech of the night. No disrespect to Frances McDormand. The Academy loves her like they love Meryl Streep, but I really wish Carey Mulligan would have won. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Promising Young Woman. I really wish Carey Mulligan would have won. I was pretty happy to see Emerald Fennell win. I was pretty happy to see her win for original screenplay, but damn it, I would have liked to see Carey Mulligan win. Those are my big 2 points on that.
Absolutely. I know for... Yeah, man, when Yoo Jung won, my dad, who didn't even watch Minari, was like, yes! And I'm like, you didn't even watch Minari. You're just happy because she's Asian. Because my dad is Filipino, and my parents are Filipino, and he was like, like, yeah, you're right. It's only because she's Asian, but I got to represent. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I love it. Like her opening lines after getting up there was like, hello, Brad Pitt. It's like, no matter what age you are, no matter where you're from. You gotta thirsty over Brad Pitt, those ladies. But for me, I guess the happiest, we're talking about happiest, who won. I am actually gonna go with Emerald Fennell for original screenplay for Promising Young Woman, and I didn't even think that was gonna win. I marked Sound of Metal as best original screenplay just because I thought it was so unique after reading a little bit of it. Not that I'm big into reading screenplays. I should be, because they're really fascinating, but just the unique challenge of writing a screenplay for that kind of movie where a lot of the characters are deaf, you play around with sound and all that. How you write that, I think, is really cool. But honestly, Promising Woman, when they won it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because it's a thrilling story, man. And I'm glad that they were at least able to walk away. I think that's the only thing that they won. Maybe one more, but
I think so. And I didn't know she directed that thing 7 months pregnant too.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't know that.
Damn.
Honestly, like in the same way that Minari is like a kind of the torch for Asian representation and all that, and Nomad led to it to a degree as well. But honestly, Promising Young Woman, that's really such a torchlight for women and survivors of sexual abuse and all that stuff. So it has a representation as well. So for Emerald Fennell to have been pregnant while doing all of that is just flat out astounding. So I'm so glad that she won.
Yeah, I guess we're bleeding into the people we're happiest with too. I was gonna say major categories, but why not, Joe? Who are you happiest for?
No, let me talk about my biggest upset. How dare they not let Onward win Best Animated Feature? I can't even say that with a straight face.
Cap.
But speaking of animated films, the person or the group of people I was happy to see when I even texted the group chat this was the guys who made the original score for Soul, which was Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. And I was really happy they let John just have his moment on stage because Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have been nominated multiple times and they've won once. They've had their moments, they're 9 Inch Nails. They're not gonna give a damn. So it's just like, yeah, let the guy who's probably he might have the hardest time out of us, getting another nomination because we've gotten them hundreds of times. The Academy basically loves them because they work with directors like what's his name, the guy that directed Mank. Fincher, yeah. They work with people like David Fincher, and now they're working with Pixar. It's like, well, we'll probably be up here again sometime soon. So I'm glad they let that guy just have the whole time up there just to say what he wanted to say. The other one that I was really happy seeing was one of my favorite films from last year. Was Denmark's Another Round. I was so happy that won international feature film because I didn't know any of the other movies. So, of course, my checkbox was on that because I liked it, and I was happy to see that it won. I was a little sad, though, to see right when the Oscars ended, they were just announced Leonardo DiCaprio in the American remake of Another Round. But we could talk about that when we eventually review it 2 years from now or whatever.
He's going to make money. He's going to make more money off that. He doesn't care.
Snobs like us are going to hate it, but you know what? Audiences are going to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And it might not be bad.
It might
If Leo's in it, I am confident.
I'm not as high as on Another Round as you are, Joe.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested in Leo's version.
Drunk.
I will be. I'm gonna be there for Leo, but it's just weird because you know how Denmark is when it comes to drinking and the culture behind it compared to America. It's just
it's just gonna be the Wolf of Wall Street again.
Basically, yeah.
Really quick. Can I just say that? Well, I shouldn't be laughing about this, but when director of Another Round was giving his speech, my dad, we all saw it, I think, but it's like, damn, that's really just his story because he has gone through some shit. His son died, I think.
Daughter.
Daughter. And
he
it's like,
at the end of the movie,
shit, dude.
So it's the name.
Yeah, so it's like there's no way he didn't suffer some level of either some sort of substance abuse or alcoholism or some sort of addiction resulting from that loss, or even just a depression. And it's like, damn, it's so clear that he put himself into that work, and he is justly rewarded for it. So good for him. And
then lastly, the person of acting categories that I was very happy to see win was finally Daniel Kaluuya, because I've been saying this with Steve for the longest time as well, and I'm sure Dom has been saying it too. When the hell is this guy gonna win? I tweeted out 4 photos. It was Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Stephen Yeun, and Dave Patel. And it's just I literally said I forgot what the exact caption was, but it had something to do with when are these guys going to basically win an Oscar?
Michael B. Jordan, too. I thought that guy would have Oscars by now.
Yeah, Michael B's another one, man. It's just so good, but hasn't won an Oscar yet. Starter Kid is right there. And they're young. They have their whole careers ahead of them still. And I'm hoping, they get their chance to shine again. But, again, I also thought it was weird that both Daniel and Lakeith were considered supporting actors, but we talked about that already back in the other show that we did of our thoughts of the nominees.
Yeah, the other thing, and I mean, you guys haven't seen Nomadland yet, so it's funny that we haven't really talked much about the Best Picture because you guys haven't seen Nomadland. I have,
yeah.
And I'm content with it winning Best Picture. We might review it down the road, but I'm content with it winning Best Picture. My problem is that there's 3 movies that were clearly better than it, in my opinion, and that was Minari, that was The Father, and that was Sound of Metal. I thought those were 3 clearly better movies than Nomadland. I like Nomadland quite a bit. There is a lot to like about it, but you know what ultimately pissed me off, though? Like, the credit to Chloe Zhao for winning too, because I thought she did a beautiful job directing that movie. But you know what? The thing that I think the award that aggravated me the most of the night of all of them was cinematography. The award that was tailor-made for Nomadland to win, the one that Nomadland, if nothing else, should have won was cinematography, and they gave it to goddamn Mank.
Mank, the story of the writer of Citizen Kane.
And Mank now has twice as many Oscars as Citizen Kane. Talk about retroactive praise from the Academy, too.
That's what Mank in this year's Oscars felt like. It was more La La Land than like a La La Land situation than La La Land itself. But honestly, it was just outpaced by everything else around it. So at least I was happy about that. I mean, I should probably watch it because I feel like I would actually enjoy that movie. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a tough sit, though, even if you like that sort of thing. This was also the first time since the 2006 Academy Awards that no single movie won more than 3 awards. And Mank had 10 nominations, too. And the one that got shut out, the one that got screwed, and I was going to touch on this during the ratings part, which we'll probably seg to in a minute, was The Trial of Chicago 7 got nothing.
Yeah, I remember because I thought that was gonna get Best Original Screenplay because I just thought
I think here's the thing, right? I really enjoyed Trial of Chicago 7, and I think much like Judas and the Black Messiah, I'm glad it's a story that got told. That alone, I'm glad. But honestly, I'm not surprised by that. Like it is weird, right? Because it is of that quality of film, but when you really sit back and compare it with everything else in the categories that it's nominated in, it's like, yeah, this really does. Chicago 7 kind of does feel like more of the same of that kind of movie. You know what I'm saying? Ensemble. It's probably like the pinnacle of that kind of movie, but it's that kind of movie.
And Sorkin isn't new. Sorkin isn't
exactly.
new. Like if that had been Sorkin's directorial debut, I would argue he might have won over Promising Young Woman for original screenplay if that was Sorkin's debut. But Sorkin's been around for so many years. I don't even consider it, like, as far as Sorkin is concerned, like, I don't know. I liked Molly's Game and Steve Jobs more. I liked both of those movies more than Trial of Chicago 7.
Yeah, those movies were better than Trial.
Nobody remembers Molly's Game, but that could very well be my favorite Sorkin movie. It's weird. It's a weird one, but I enjoy it. But I think that was the other thing. I'm glad to see Sound of Metal got editing and it was funny. If you knew nothing else about the Oscars, like my father who winds up picking the categories and stuff just to BS around, you should know, context clues should tell you if you knew nothing else, that the award for best sound was going to go to the fucking movie that had sound in the title.
If that didn't win, else. If that didn't win, I'm like, damn, dude, they got to reform this whole voting thing, dude. I don't know what the hell.
If it would have lost, it probably would have given us somewhat of a foreshadowing to the best actor snub.
Yeah.
Real quick, you guys made ballots too. How'd you do?
Dismal, except for Daniel Kaluuya, the big 6, completely whiffed. Granted, I did not watch Nomadland, so that's probably why. But I just completely whiffed.
Well, how many did you get right?
No. Yes.
Joe, how many did you get right?
16.
Damn, you beat me.
Yeah, man, I was on the money this year. These last 3 years, I've actually been on the money more than not.
You beat me. I got 15. Did you get Best Picture right?
I did. Yeah, I picked Nomadland.
I was so pissed. The one year I've gone with the chalk almost every year. The one year I don't go with the chalk and go for Minari, then they pick the chalk.
Here's the thing: I got 8 right. I always do it the week of because there's just something in the air that gives me like, all right, this is what's gonna win. The ones I didn't get were writing for adapted screenplay, visual effects. It was so stupid of me. I should have picked Tenet. I should have known it was. Instead, I picked Mulan. And then short film, short animated film, short live action film, and then original song because I just didn't know. I was just like, man, I don't remember hearing any of these.
Can we talk about original song for a second?
Sure.
That was a very interesting matchup this year because it's like 3 songs that are kind of not the same, but very similar, extremely similar themes.
Very similar themes. Yeah. Like you could just, they're the same. And then you got
Even
the
titles,
Eurovision.
even the titles. Fight for you. Hear my voice. Speak now.
Speak now.
Dude, so there's the hour before the Oscars started, they were doing a pre-show and they actually did the best original song nominee performances in that pre-show, which I thought was very interesting. I'm kind of glad that they did that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, watching the performance of Husavek from Fire Saga, I was like, damn, this is actually pretty good. What if this wins?
That's a jam. I wouldn't have been mad. I picked Speak Now because I thought for sure they'd give it to Leslie Odom. I thought for sure with One Night in Miami.
Honestly, of the 3 that are like that, Fight for You, Hear My Voice, and Speak Now, I thought it was going to go to Hear My Voice just because that woman's voice is just so goddamn clear and so powerful for like a really minimalist composition, that in terms of like the melody, right? It's just the same like 4 phrases over again, but like, hey, maybe like, well, for a movie coming from Aaron Sorkin, that's a beautiful contrast. So that was interesting. Of course, it went to Her, the artist called Her. Which my dad could not stop making puns about, but it went to her for Fight for You. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad song.
The category that made me throw my pen at the TV was cinematography. I was
sure
pissed. That was the one that aggravated me. The absolute. Yep. That was. I said some choice words. You'd have thought the Bears lost with my choice words there.
But yeah, no, I think I've always been like on the money. The one time I wasn't on the money about Best Picture was last year because I didn't think it was going to be Parasite. But damn, was I really happy it was Parasite.
Same.
And
I
like,
was
not to go back to the previous Oscars, but man, I always love rewatching that clip because just hearing the audience go, ah! It's like the best feeling ever. It's because like everybody that night that's a film buff, whatever you want to call yourself, they were so happy Parasite won. I literally talked. The only people I knew that were angry were comic book fans because they thought the Joker was my year, and it's just like, shut up.
Oh man, I remember I yelled Parasite, took a big swig out of my bottle of chartreuse, polished off like the last shot of it in the bottle. Then I looked at my phone and I had 2 texts from 2 close friends, all caps, Parasite with exclamation points.
I was watching Birds of Prey in theaters, and like literally I got a tweet right when the movie ended. It's like Parasite won Best Picture, and my friends who are sitting next to me are like, oh, like I'm freaking out. They're like, what is this? I never heard this movie. I'm like, well, guess what we're watching next week?
It was a W for cinema. That's what that was.
It really was.
At any rate, we'll wrap up with this. For our Oscars show. It's been a loaded show. I think this is the first show we haven't talked about. We haven't reviewed a specific movie. This might be the first show where we've never reviewed a specific movie. We're just talking one topic. But we'll close with this, the ratings of the Oscars. They weren't pretty. I wasn't expecting them to be. They were not pretty. The telecast drew a paltry 10.4 million viewers. You can draw your own conclusions why. That is 58% less than last year's historically low numbers. You couldn't have expected a gangbuster year because all award shows are down. The Grammys, the Emmys, the Tonys, they've all been down this last year tremendously. And if you look at general audience reactions because I saw them in the days and even the day leading up, the Twitter, Rotten Tomatoes, Reddit, Facebook, many people complain that they never heard of these movies. And I was really surprised by that in some way. Sound of Metal was on Amazon. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was on Netflix, as was The Trial of the Chicago 7 and Mank. Nomadland was on Hulu. So that surprised me there, that like these movies have truly never been more accessible, but to the general public. But they're
Netflix,
not
I think in Netflix there's like a tab that's like, hey, these are all the Oscar nominated movies in like a menu for you. It could literally not be more this, the silver platter that the Oscar, no, it's not a silver platter, but anyway, the Oscars is holding something. It could not be more of the statue showing you like, here are the movies, watch them. And I think it just goes to show the ultimate proof that, yeah, people just don't like cinema. I don't know. That's very, very hoity-toity statement of me.
People don't want what they claim they do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying the Oscars, I'm talking these movies if you've never heard of them.
Steve, this is like that Queen of Cotway rant that you did a long time ago, where it's like, yeah, people just don't know what they're talking about, because like you said with Queen of Cotway, I'm completely butchering that name.
Queen of Cotway.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the movie that people claim that they want, where it's like representation, a girl from Africa, the underdog story. It's a not cerebral, but it's chess, it's like Battle of the Minds, all that stuff, really cool performances and cinematography and all that stuff. No one watched it. No one gave a crap about that movie. And I did watch it. I did wind up enjoying it. But yeah, it's like the same thing here. Yeah, no, you have like, dude, Promising Young Woman, that could not be more of like a crowd pleaser, in my opinion. Judas and the Black Messiah. I think maybe those two were probably the most the people heard. But Trial of the Chicago 7, yeah.
I think it does, like, because, most of the time, we get, 9, 10 films nominated for Best Picture from time to time. Like, yeah. We look at last year's, list of Best Pictures, and you have stuff that was really big at the box office. Joker, Ford versus Ferrari, 1917. These were movies that attracted a lot of people that they thought was gonna win. A lot of people thought Joker was gonna win Best Picture for some reason. But I was one of the people that thought 1917 was gonna win Best Picture because of how big of a technical achievement it was. And many other people had their own thoughts and everything, but you have those movies. Yeah, this year it was the smaller stuff. It was the Parasite, that won basically. It's these
Parasite.
Smaller. It is these smaller movies that maybe a large audience didn't end up seeing it, but once it wins Best Picture, then they go off and see it. And I'm telling you this right now too. Now that Nomadland won, everybody's gonna jump on the Hulu, watch it, and say, "What the fuck is this? This movie sucks." Because that's just how it's gonna get. And then people are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not watching the Oscars anymore. They gave it to that."
But let me say this: my dad, when Nomadland was starting to really win, my dad, I have not seen it, so I can't really comment on Nomadland. But my dad did see it, and he's the kind he watches Two and a Half Men. He loves the Transformers movies. He's that kind of guy, and I can't admonish him for it because he works hard. But whatever. He's that kind of moviegoer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. But you know what? He watched Nomadland, and he told me straight up while we were watching it, and he said, I really thought I would get bored with this movie, but I just couldn't stop watching it. And coming from him, that really means something. So
I'll have to check this out.
That movie connects with the human spirit in a really big way. And like I said, we're going to add that to the schedule. We're going to talk about Nomadland in the coming weeks. We're going to do a review on that because there's a lot to say. I don't want to go into that. And then there's the other argument, too, that people have. And I think this was really true in the Trump years, too. I resisted this argument for a long time with award shows, especially the Oscars. But you know what? It didn't really apply this year. But I think people are really tired of the integration of politics into award shows and sports. Now, say what you want about your personal opinion on the matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't bug me the way it bugs a lot of other people. But I think that is definitely attributable here. Because during the Trump years, the Oscars had a lot of every speech had something to do, almost every speech had something to do with politics. And this year, the most political comment, if you watch the Oscars, it really didn't veer off into that sort of territory. The most flagrant political comment was a good one, I'll say, was Regina King's opening when she said, "Thank God they made the right verdict in Minneapolis, or I was going to have to trade these heels in for marching boots." Yeah. That was her. That was the apex of the politics it got.
I think so, yeah,
in the Oscars. But you didn't see that this year as much. But I think that's turned a lot of people off.
May I jump
Go ahead,
in?
Joe.
Yeah, sorry. May I jump in too by saying this? Another issue I think is that the advertising for this year was nowhere to be seen. I forgot the Oscars were this weekend until Steve texted me and reminded us that it's the best Sunday of the year, and I was just like, oh shit, it is. And when he texted that, I was in the middle. I had a ramen bowl right in front of me at my favorite Japanese sushi place. I was like, I gotta eat this quick. I ate that Dragon Ball Z speed and had to rush home. But like I even listened to one of my favorite movie podcasts, Double Toasted, right after I got done watching it. And even they were like, "Damn, we forgot it was tonight too." Like they haven't advertised this that well. And it's
Really?
Like, yeah, no, they forgot.
Corey forgot.
Corey forgot. I even listened to Funhouse, Filmhouse. They forgot the Oscars were this weekend. Or
We know all these people, so we're name dropping.
Yeah.
So
I hang out with them all the time. But like this year, to me, I talked to so many people. I'm like, did you know the Oscars were this weekend? My mom didn't even know, and she loves that stuff because she loves seeing everybody in their dresses and everything on the carpet. And even when they go up and accept the award ceremony, she's all about award ceremonies. She had no clue they were on Sunday night, and it was just
That's fair because by now they would have already happened. They happened in February or March.
Yeah, and I think that's also, and that was the thing I wanted to say. I think the moving of the date threw people off because everybody else kept like their original time span. At least they made it virtual, but they kept it to that. They wanted to go above and beyond. They wanted to have something in person, so they waited and they they calculated. And good for them. And as we said tonight, it was a good show. They did a great job despite the ending to it. It's like it's like watching a film and everything's great up until you get to the ending. You're like, what the hell? Like, the first 2/3 were great, but yeah, that's just how I felt about it. It's just like, yeah, they really didn't advertise it, and the fact that it was not in its original time frame, I think threw people off. Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about why the Oscars, the ratings were low. Honestly, part of it might just pure just me talking, but part of it might just be that people have just been fatigued by everything. So the last thing that they really want to care about is the Oscars. If anything, it really just goes to show that for us diehard movie people, and I'm not even the most diehard of the diehard, but at least we find some solace in it. That's our Super Bowl, that's our Olympics, that's our thing, as best as we can do it. Pivoting just really quick back to the politics thing. I have seen some hot takes that maybe it's like, yeah, you see, people don't want to care about politics anymore. Stop putting it in your everything, And I think it's less that. I think it's just more so people just want to see the actual change now, right? Like they're really, really tired of just speech after speech after speech alone, right? Without anything actually happening. So
yeah,
the impetus is on now that a certain politician is no longer in charge of the United States. It's like, okay, can the new guy do something maybe so that we can actually move on to new topics, new problems, stuff that we left behind maybe 4 years ago. But anyway, yeah, dude, it was, it kind of sucks because I did enjoy watching this year's Oscars. Between honestly, like this didn't feel all that radical of an award show than the Grammys. If you watch the Grammys, like they really turned that thing up on its head because like all the performances were like, okay, we're just gonna put all the best record artists in a room together, and then like we're just gonna go around and watch them perform, and they're like, we're gonna just have Billie Eilish sing in this corner, we're gonna have Harry Styles sing in this corner, and all that stuff. So that was interesting, but honestly, for the Oscars, I thought Steven Soderbergh did just fine. So 2.5 out of 4 stars. Thanks, Steven.
Up until the last 20 minutes, I thought the show was very good.
Yeah.
Up until the last 20 minutes. We'll save this topic, this last part I wanted to bring up. We're about out of time. We'll save it for next week. Scott Mendelson, it gives you guys a chance to read the article and chime in because I did mention it to you two, where Scott Mendelson mentioned about how you wonder about the streaming revolution in this sense. And I brought it up just a few minutes ago about how a large part of social media was like, I'd never heard of any of these movies. And the Big 10 categories of the Oscars all went to major studio titles. Netflix was shut out and a few other studios as well. So we're going to talk HBO even too, or Warner, I mean, not HBO explicitly, but we will talk about that next week, along with reviewing Mortal Kombat. The new Mortal Kombat film, which will be a very fun discussion. That's now on HBO Max. But that's our Oscar talk for this year. I'll be interested to see when they're going to do the time slot next year. Are they going to go back to the late February, March time slot? Or are they going to keep this late April window? Because if they go the February route, it's going to shrink the window, and which might balance out the forces of the world because this window was so hyper extended. extended the window and they still couldn't give Zendaya the nomination, but that's neither here nor there. At any rate, great job, guys. That's our show. It's Sleepless with Steve. We come to you live and in living color every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Central Time, coast to coast. Highlights will be posted on the YouTube channel where you are viewing it presently. And we will talk next week about Mortal Kombat and kind of put a pin in the Oscars just by talking about, what does the streaming revolution mean when no streaming service or streaming production company could garner any of the Big Ten awards in a year that was really bereft of major studio titles and movie theaters as primary competition. So we'll dive into that next week. Again, Sleepless with Steve. For Joe Viso, Dominic Guanzon, and yours truly, it's been Sleepless with Steve.